The drama begins in a 5-star hotel, where the male lead is a famous chef. His name is Gi-hoon, and he is a cooking expert who wants to observe other chefs. He tells his teammate chefs, "I know you had a breakup, so you're feeling sad. That's why you won't be able to cook, but always remember to keep your work and personal life separate." Then he starts cooking himself. Suddenly he sees someone, but there is no one there. Then Gi-hoon faints. He had been feeling like this for quite some time. He would suddenly start crying or smiling, meaning he had no control over his emotions. The hotel customers complain to the manager, so the manager asks Gi-hoon, "What's your problem?" He replies, "Twins have a connection. When one child cries or laughs, the other child automatically does the same." In reality, Gi-hoon was talking about his twin sister. When he was 8 years old, his sister went missing. A few days later, Gi-hoon kept feeling the same way as her, but after some time, their emotional connection disappeared. Now, 18 years later, Gi-hoon is feeling that connection again. He thinks, "If I'm feeling this after such a long time, then you must be alive." Then, the heroine, Da-hyun, is shown running while wearing a red outfit. On the way, Gi-hoon and Da-hyun come face to face. Da-hyun feels intense emotions in front of Gi-hoon. When she reaches her apartment, she finds her bills placed there, but that was not her emergency. She quickly starts cleaning the house because her mom is coming. Her mom doesn't know that Da-hyun hasn't gotten a job and is covering her expenses through part-time work. Then, her mom arrives and asks, "Didn't you go to the office?" She replies, "I'm working from home." At the hotel, Gi-hoon also feels tense. He thinks, "I will find out whose emotions I am feeling." Da-hyun works on the floor above the hotel where Gi-hoon works. When she gets scolded by her boss, she becomes sad. Now Gi-hoon feels her emotions and becomes sad as well. Then he takes food to the rooftop, where Da-hyun is also present. She tells him, "I have no issue with you sitting here." So Gi-hoon sits with her and starts eating. Da-hyun keeps staring at him. Seeing her, he says, "If you like this food, you can eat it." He thinks she will refuse, but Da-hyun immediately starts eating from his plate. Then Gi-hoon becomes suspicious, thinking, "Could she be the one whose emotions I am feeling?" He starts asking her name and personal details. Then he asks her about a game he used to play with his sister, but Da-hyun, annoyed by his questions, leaves from there. The next day, Da-hyun's colleague tells her, "The famous hotel chef Gi-hoon has sent you 2 gifts. One contains a cake and the other a handkerchief." She immediately goes to Gi-hoon and asks, "What does this mean?" He replies, "You were eating my food so fast. I thought you might like my cakes too, but I didn't send this handkerchief." Da-hyun suspects that he is lying, so she hands him the package and says, "I already suspected you that day when you asked for my personal details." Then she scolds him and leaves. After this, Da-hyun feels like someone is following her, so she starts running fast. Then Lee asks, "Why are you running?" Da-hyun tells him, "You scared me. Don't do this next time." Lee lives in Da-hyun's area, but he seems suspicious. The next day, Da-hyun receives a parcel. It contains shoes. She thinks, "This must be Gi-hoon's doing." Then she starts receiving parcels like this every day, so she throws them in the trash, thinking, "Just because I talked to him once, he has started bothering me." She searches for Gi-hoon on the internet and finds out that he is very famous, but she also learns about his strange behavior. He suddenly starts smiling or crying, and he himself doesn't know why. Da-hyun thinks, "This man is crazy, that's why he was asking me weird questions." On the other hand, Gi-hoon is thinking about his sister and wondering what she must look like now. Meanwhile, his mom and grandma pack the dead body and place it in a freezer. Then, they erase all traces of blood. Seeing this, Da-hyun is shocked that a murder just took place here and yet they are behaving this way. Have they done things like this before? On the other side, Gi-hoon and his friend are out buying supplies for their restaurant. When he sees a freezer outside his restaurant, he thinks, maybe the workers forgot to bring it inside. The two of them begin moving it indoors, unaware that Lee's dead body is inside. Watching them take the freezer inside, Da-hyun and her grandma are in shock. Da-hyun thinks, what will happen if they open the freezer? In the next scene, it is shown that Gi-hoon and Yoo used to have an emotional connection. That's why they participated in many competitions. Twins naturally have such a connection, but their bond was even deeper. Even in the rock, paper, scissors game, they would feel the same way, which is why Gi-hoon asked Da-hyun about this game that day. Their father used to call them super kids. In the present, Da-hyun stands outside the restaurant to retrieve the fridge. When Gi-hoon approaches her and asks, "Why do you look so troubled?" Da-hyun replies, "I haven't been able to find a permanent job, so I'm a little stressed." Then she goes inside Gi-hoon's restaurant and says, I came to say hi to you both. Ga-hoon says, you came to say hi in the middle of the night? And why do you look so disturbed? Tell us the truth. Just then, the freezer door starts to open. Panicked, Da-hyun grabs Ga-hoon and pushes him against the fridge, making the door close. Da-hyun tells him, I really like you. Ga-hoon immediately realizes that she's lying. Even on the way home that night, Ga-hoon's friend says, that girl is definitely lying. She's in some kind of trouble. When Ga-hoon arrives home, his mom is asleep. Ever since Yoo went missing, his mother's health has not been well. Meanwhile, Da-hyun is extremely stressed about the dead body. Her mom tells her, you can't even keep a small thing hidden. You're always around that guy, so he took the fridge away. Da-hyun says, but I don't even know him. Annoyed by their constant talking, her grandma breaks the glass at Ga-hoon's restaurant. But before she can go inside, the neighbors wake up and a police car also arrives. So they all hide and return home. Thinking about everything, Da-hyun starts crying and then falls asleep. The next morning, when Ga-hoon wakes up, his eyes are also filled with tears. He thinks, what is happening to me? On the other hand, Da-hyun's mom tells her own mother, no matter what, I will get that dead body out of there. To save my daughter, I can even strangle Ga-hoon. Hearing this, Da-hyun asks, were you both gangsters before? But they don't answer her question. When the three of them step outside, they are shocked to see that new cameras are being installed in their area, which operate 24/7. Seeing this, they wonder, how will we remove the dead body from the fridge now? After this, Da-hyun starts exercising outside Ga-hoon's restaurant. Ga-hoon and his friend are now certain that she is hiding something. Later, when they go to the market to buy supplies, they run into Da-hyun's mom and grandma, who invite them over for a meal. Ga-hoon refuses, but they insist and take them along. Actually, their plan was to mix drugs into Ga-hoon and his friends' drinks to make them unconscious and then take the fridge from their restaurant. But Ga-hoon says, I don't drink. After this, Da-hyun's mom says, people in this area trust us a lot. Whenever someone has to go somewhere, they leave their house keys with us. You can also leave your keys with us before going anywhere. Ga-hoon replies, we don't need to go anywhere for now, and whenever we need help, I'll come to you. This way, their second plan also fails. Then Da-hyun's mom says, we both run a restaurant. If you need anything, you can take it from us, and if we need something, like a fridge, we'll take it from you. Ga-hoon asks, do you need a fridge? Hearing this, she says, no, not right now. Then changing the subject, she asks, how did you like our food? I heard you're a top chef. Ga-hoon bluntly replies, there's no taste in this at all. The food is half cooked. If you keep cooking like this, your restaurant will shut down. During their argument, police officers Min-jo and Ji-won arrive for a meal. Min-jo wants to ask Da-hyun to come to the police station tomorrow, but she doesn't. Seeing the police, Da-hyun gets a little nervous and starts working. Min-jo notices the injury on Da-hyun's hand and asks, did you come to the police station yesterday? Is everything okay? Da-hyun replies, I can't say anything right now. I have urgent work. Ga-hoon also speaks up to help her. We both have to go somewhere. Then he takes Da-hyun to his restaurant. He says, I won't ask why you went to the police station yesterday, but seeing you in trouble last night, I can at least say that something is definitely bothering you. And you're injured too. First, I'll take you to the hospital. In the next scene, Da-hyun is at the hospital, and the doctor is examining her. He says, her hand injury will heal in a few days, but the wounds on her body will take time to recover. While returning, Ga-hoon asks, how did you get so many injuries? If your boyfriend is torturing you, break up with him immediately. If someone had done this to my sister, I would have killed them. Staying silent could be dangerous for you. But Da-hyun doesn't tell him anything. In the next scene, someone in their area has died. Seeing the dead body, Da-hyun gets disturbed, and Ga-hoon feels it too. Now he is sure that the person whose emotions he has been feeling is definitely Da-hyun. So, he goes to meet her, but she's not at home. Da-hyun is on a bus thinking, if I killed Lee, then it doesn't matter. If I hadn't, he would have killed me. I did all this to save my life. Thinking this, she arrives home and finds Ga-hoon waiting outside. He asks her, are you stressed? Please tell me. She says, no, I'm feeling fine now. Then she goes inside. No one was home. Her mom had left a letter. I'm going to take the blame for Lee's murder myself, so forget about this and live a good life. Reading this, Da-hyun feels sad. She immediately rushes to the police station. But before her mom can confess, Da-hyun's grandma confesses, I committed the murder. Da-hyun's mom tells the officer, this is my mom. A few years ago, she had a fight with my dad. She used to get really angry at him, so she kept saying that she killed him. But in reality, nothing like that happened. Mom, you didn't take your medicine, right? Saying this, she tries to take her mom away. Just then, Da-hyun also arrives and tells her mom, this is not your fault. Then all three of them walk out of the police station. Outside, Da-hyun tells them, from now on, you won't come to the police station to confess anything. When we are not at fault, why should we consider ourselves criminals? The mistake was Lee's, and he got the punishment for it. They also agree with Da-hyun's words. A few days later, Ga-hoon receives some packages, and Da-hyun starts helping him. She was trying to steal his door password or key somehow. She asks Ga-hoon's friend about his date of birth, but Ga-hoon refuses to tell her. So Da-hyun says, you also asked me mine. Ga-hoon replies, I'll tell you both our dates of birth, but you have to play a game with me. Then they both play the game and make the same movements. Now Ga-hoon is certain that his emotional connection is with Da-hyun. After this, he tells her their dates of birth. Then Da-hyun leaves. A police officer becomes suspicious of them and starts researching. He asks Ga-hoon, why did you come here after so long? Ga-hoon replies, this area is not very developed, so the rent is lower. That's why I chose this place for my restaurant. But the truth was, he suspected that his sister had been murdered, so he came here to find her killer. Later, as Ga-hoon heads to his restaurant, Da-hyun tries to enter it. She suspected that Ga-hoon's date of birth was the door password. When she tries it, the door opens. She goes inside and opens the fridge. Just then, Ga-hoon arrives. He says, did you find what you were looking for? Hearing his voice, Da-hyun panics, wondering if he has discovered the truth. Next, a flashback of Ga-hoon's past is shown. Ga-hoon and his sister Yoo used to write letters to each other. Ga-hoon loved doing this, but ever since Yoo disappeared, he couldn't even bear looking at letters. One letter he had written to Yoo said, that day, I didn't go to piano class. If someone comes to hurt me, please save me. Thinking about this, Ga-hoon enters the restaurant in the present and sees Da-hyun standing near the fridge. Da-hyun had not found a dead body inside the fridge. Ga-hoon asks, did you find what you were looking for? Da-hyun suspects that Ga-hoon might have removed the body. She says, I saw that your restaurant door was open, and so was the fridge door. I just came to close them. Ga-hoon replies, don't lie. Tell me your problem. I will help you. But Da-hyun doesn't say anything and leaves. The next day, while having breakfast, Da-hyun tells her mom and grandma the dead body wasn't in the fridge. Her mom scolds her, why did you go there alone? What if someone saw you? From now on, whatever we do, we will do it together. In the next scene, Ji-won and Min-jo receive a complaint about a husband abusing his wife. They go to see the lady, but she says, you got the wrong information. Meanwhile, a woman approaches Da-hyun's mom, showing her a photo of Lee and asking about him. Da-hyun's mom doesn't recognize him and says, a lot of customers come here. Even if he did come, we don't remember. When the woman steps out of the restaurant, she sees Da-hyun and recognizes her because Lee used to send her photos of Da-hyun. But Da-hyun doesn't recognize her. The woman tells her, you really are very beautiful. Da-hyun is surprised and asks, how do you know me? But the woman leaves without answering. In the next scene, Ji-won approaches Da-hyun and asks, you three came to the police station that day. Is everything okay? But Da-hyun doesn't tell him anything. Ga-hoon, passing by, thinks someone is bothering Da-hyun, so he starts attacking Ji-won. Da-hyun quickly says, he's a police officer. Ga-hoon apologizes to Ji-won, saying, I misunderstood. Ji-won replies, what you did was not right, and walks away. Da-hyun tells Ga-hoon, you don't need to worry about me. I will never say I love you to you. Ga-hoon says, I don't want that at all. Just stop following me, and leaves angrily. Da-hyun starts having bad dreams where Lee is chasing her. She wakes up in fear. Feeling this, Ga-hoon's sleep is also disturbed. When he steps outside, he sees Da-hyun outside her house as well. Looking at her, he says, looks like you can't sleep either. Let me cook something for you. Then Ga-hoon makes pasta for her, and while eating together, they become friends. In the next scene, Ga-hoon finds out that Do-hyun went to the library in the rain without an umbrella. He remembers, you also used to forget to take an umbrella. So he takes an umbrella, picks up Do-hyun from the library, and drops her home. Then a flashback is shown. When Yoo went missing, Ga-hoon found a letter from her friend that said, I saw blood on my dad's hands. After reading it, Ga-hoon reported the father to the police. He was their piano teacher, but since there was no evidence against him, he was released. In the next scene, Da-hyun meets Ga-hoon and says, you have always helped me. I need another favor from you. He asks, what is it? Da-hyun says, I want to work at your restaurant. Can you give me a job? Ga-hoon immediately agrees. Meanwhile, Da-hyun's grandma takes her mom to a dancing club to relieve stress. There, they meet a woman from the neighborhood. She tells them, my husband beats me a lot. You two have to kill him. A few days ago, I saw you putting a dead body into a fridge. If you do this for me, I won't tell anyone about it. On the other hand, Da-hyun is with Ga-hoon. Ga-hoon wants to tell her about his childhood. Da-hyun says, I need to tell you something. She wanted to say, I like you, but instead, she blurts out, I killed a man. Shocked, Ga-hoon asks, what are you saying? She quickly replies, I was just joking. But Ga-hoon feels like she is telling the truth, so he asks, who did you kill? Is this why you've been so troubled? Have you told anyone else? Da-hyun thinks, I have only told you. Ga-hoon thinks, her mom and grandma already know. Now I know too. This secret won't stay hidden for long. If the police find out, what will happen to her? She says, I used to be scared before, but now I don't need to fear anyone. Then she leaves. A flashback is shown. Da-hyun always considered herself unlucky. She had been betrayed by multiple boyfriends. One boyfriend mixed something in her food, so she broke up with him. Another boyfriend never spent time with her. One cheated on her. And then Lee started harassing her. She was very depressed with her life. That's when she met Ga-hoon. The way he protected her made her start liking him. In the next scene, Da-hyun's mom and grandma are at the dancing club with the woman whose husband tortures her. Seeing the bruises on her body, they think, her husband must have tortured her again today. But why should we ruin our lives for her? So they decide, we won't commit murder. Da-hyun wakes up and overhears her mom and grandma talking. If we don't kill her husband, he will tell everyone about us. Meanwhile, Ga-hoon is thinking about Da-hyun. If she committed a murder, then where did the dead body go? He wonders. Her family always talks about the fridge. Did they hide it in there? Thinking this, he opens the fridge, but there is no dead body inside. Just then, his friend arrives, and Ga-hoon asks him about the dead body. But even he doesn't know anything about it. Ga-hoon's friend had conducted a DNA test for Da-hyun and had come to inform him. But before he could, Da-hyun arrived there. In the next scene, Da-hyun goes to meet her friend, who tells her about Lee's disappearance. His family is looking for him. As Da-hyun is returning, she meets Lee's sister, who tells her, I also got a job at Ga-hoon's restaurant. Now we'll work together. After this, they are all shown together. Ga-hoon's friend says, there used to be a big knife here. It's missing. Ga-hoon looks at Da-hyun, and she says, I didn't take your knife? Then the scene shifts to a taxi driver who has the knife. His wife, shocked, asks, how did this knife end up with us? At night, Ga-hoon's friend asks him, what was your purpose in opening a restaurant in this area? Ga-hoon replies, I'm just searching for someone. In the next scene, the woman whose husband tortures her visits Da-hyun's mom and grandma. She says, my husband beats me a lot. I feel like dying. He has tortured me for so many years that I now want to kill him. And you two have to help me. If you don't, I will report you to the police. After she leaves, Da-hyun's mom says, what should we do now? Then grandma picks up a big knife and walks outside saying, I will kill her husband. Da-hyun's mom follows her. Da-hyun also sees them and starts following, which Ga-hoon notices. He thinks, what's going on with them now? And follows them as well. A little distance away, the woman's drunk husband bumps into someone and starts fighting, saying, can't you see where you're going? The other man hits him hard. It's police officer Ji-won. Meanwhile, Da-hyun's family is heading toward them. Ga-hoon is also approaching when he sees Ji-won. Ga-hoon recognizes him, but Ji-won ignores him and walks away. Ga-hoon notices blood on Ji-won's hand. On the other side, when Da-hyun's family arrives, they find the woman's husband lying on the ground. They think someone has already killed him. Just then, the police arrive and, seeing weapons in their hands, assume that they murdered him. In the next scene, all three women are at the police station. Min-jo asks, why did you commit the murder? Da-hyun's mom replies, we went there with weapons to kill him, but he was already lying on the ground. If we had killed him, there would be blood on our weapons. At the hospital, the police question the injured man, who attacked you? Struggling to speak, he only manages to say, he was wearing black. Back at the police station, this information is being discussed. Ga-hoon knows that Ji-won was wearing black, so he starts staring at Ji-won. Da-hyun's family is deemed innocent and released. In the next scene, Ga-hoon's friend shows him Da-hyun's DNA test results, which confirm that she is not his sister. Ga-hoon already knew this, but because of their emotional connection, he had hoped that Yoo was still alive. Now, that hope was gone. He blamed himself for his sister's death. Ga-hoon's friend asks, if Da-hyun isn't you, then why do you have an emotional connection with her? Ga-hoon himself didn't know the answer. In the next scene, Da-hyun goes to Ga-hoon's restaurant, but he speaks to her rudely. There's no work right now, so go home. And from today, stay away from me. I don't have any feelings for you. You asked for help, so I gave you a job. Hearing this, Da-hyun feels very sad and returns home. While eating, she keeps thinking, why did Ga-hoon talk to me like that? Lost in thought, she steps outside and sees Ga-hoon there too. He says, I need to tell you something. She replies, me too. Then, Ga-hoon tells her, the man you thought you killed isn't dead. He's alive. So Da-hyun says, what nonsense are you talking about? If he were alive, he would have definitely come looking for me. Then Ga-hoon says, think about it. His dead body, which was kept in the fridge, is missing. A knife from my restaurant is also missing. Da-hyun says, you said that you don't have feelings for me, yet you still came to help me. So thanks for that. And then she goes inside the house. Just then, Lee appears in front of her and says, you seem way too happy without me. He starts strangling Da-hyun, and in the end, Da-hyun realizes, Ga-hoon guessed it exactly right, Lee is alive. In the next scene, we see what happened that night. There was a scuffle between Da-hyun and Lee. Then, due to Da-hyun hitting him, he didn't die but lost consciousness. Thinking he was dead, Da-hyun's mom and grandma packed him up and hid him in the fridge. And by mistake, Ga-hoon took that fridge to his restaurant. Later, when he got the chance, Lee came out of the fridge and used the knife kept there to cut his cover and escape. He was about to kill Da-hyun with that knife, but then he got hit by a car and lost consciousness. The driver checked on him, which is why that knife is now with the taxi driver. In the present, Lee had started strangling Da-hyun. Just then, Da-hyun's eyes open, meaning it was her dream. The next day, Da-hyun tells her mom, I told Ga-hoon that I committed murder. Her mom gets angry at her. She says, go ahead and announce it to the whole neighborhood. And then she starts hitting Da-hyun. Grandma refuses to stop her. Then Da-hyun escapes from her mom and goes to Ga-hoon's restaurant. She liked him, but Ga-hoon had told her, stay away from me. So now she tries to keep her distance. Ga-hoon also notices, she doesn't talk to me like she used to before. In the next scene, Ji-won and Min-jo investigate that lady's husband and ask him, try to remember properly, who attacked you? He remembered that Ji-won was the one who attacked him. But he says, she was wearing a black dress, but I couldn't see her. Actually, after attacking him, Ji-won had warned him, if you tell anyone my name, I'll lose my job. Then I'll have a lot of free time. Whenever I feel bored, I'll come to kill you. Because of this fear, he doesn't mention Ji-won's name. Da-hyun and Ga-hoon were coming from somewhere. Da-hyun says, you say you don't care about me. No one in my life has cared for me as much as you have. You even gave me a job at your restaurant. If you didn't care, you wouldn't have done that. Ga-hoon was about to say something, but just then, Da-hyun sees a car about to hit Ga-hoon, so she quickly pulls him toward her. He says, are you crazy? You made me fall. Then Da-hyun says, it was coming really fast. If I hadn't pulled you back, we both would have died. Ga-hoon looks around, but he doesn't see any car. They start arguing again, but then they make up. On the other side, Min-jo asks Ji-won, tell me the truth. Did you attack that man? Then we see a flashback. When they were dating, they had gone to a restaurant to eat. Outside the restaurant, Ji-won started beating up a man. Min-jo asked, why are you attacking him? But Ji-won didn't tell her anything. That's why Min-jo is suspicious of Ji-won. Ji-won also admits, I was the one who attacked that man. The next day, an old lady comes to Ga-hoon's house. She says to Ga-hoon, you are that doctor's son, Ga-hoon, right? Ga-hoon says yes. Then that lady goes to Da-hyun's restaurant and tells everyone, this boy used to live here in his childhood. His dad was a doctor. This news spreads throughout the area. When the police officer finds out, he says, why has Ga-hoon come to this area after so many years? There's still no trace of his sister either. We suspect that he has come back for revenge. Chang, who was Ga-hoon's piano teacher in childhood, comes outside Ga-hoon's restaurant. Then Ga-hoon says to him, if you have something to tell me, then say it. Otherwise, leave from here. Then Chang says, I don't know what happened to your sister, but one day she was standing alone on the road and wanted a ride in my car. I told her to get in the car, but after that, I don't know what happened. I swear, I didn't do anything wrong to her. Hearing this, Ga-hoon gets even angrier at Chang and starts hitting him. Just then, Ji-won arrives, pulls him away from Chang, and says to Ga-hoon, if you have a problem with him, file a complaint with the police. Don't fight like this. Then Ga-hoon says, didn't you remember this when you attacked that man? Ji-won says, I didn't attack anyone. Don't put the blame on me. The next day, Ga-hoon's friend tells Da-hyun and the other chef girl about Ga-hoon's sister's story. He has come here to find the person who murdered his sister. After this, the next day, Da-hyun asks her mom and grandma, do you remember a little girl who used to live here and went missing? Her mom says, "We moved here after them, so we don't know anything about it." Da-hyun's friend comes to meet her, but outside the restaurant, she sees Lee's sister. So she quickly goes to Da-hyun's mom and asks her about Lee. Her mom says, "Why are you asking about him?" Then she points through the window. The girl working at the restaurant across the street is Lee's sister. She has come here looking for Lee. Then Ga-hoon is in the car with Da-hyun when he gets a call from his mom. "I'm at the mall and I saw Yoon. Come here quickly." Ga-hoon can't believe it. Mom suddenly found Yoon just like that. When he gets there, he finds his mom sitting alone, crying. She had seen a girl in the market who looked like Yoon. When he goes to her, she starts yelling at him. If you had taken care of her that day, Yoon wouldn't have gone missing. Then Ga-hoon calms her down and takes her home. Da-hyun can't sleep after seeing Ga-hoon like this, so she goes to his restaurant and starts working. Ga-hoon comes to her and asks, "Who are you cooking for at this hour?" She says, "For you. When I'm upset, you cook food for me that's even better than a 5-star hotel. Today, it's my turn." Then they prepare a different kind of dish together and sit down to eat. Thinking about what happened at the mall, Da-hyun gets emotional, and Ga-hoon also feels her emotions. He asks her, "Why are you sad?" She says, "Today, at the mall, I saw your real life. I didn't know there was so much pain in your life." Seeing tears in Da-hyun's eyes, Ga-hoon's eyes also well up with tears. And Da-hyun is surprised. "Why is he crying? Because I'm sad." When Ga-hoon calms down, she says, "When you're sad, cry openly. It will make you feel relaxed." Then Ga-hoon says, "I wasn't crying because of my own pain. Actually, I want to tell you a truth, but I don't know if you'll believe it or not. But you and I are emotionally connected. When you smile, cry, or feel nervous, I can feel it too." Da-hyun thinks, could this really be true? Or is he just fooling me? Da-hyun says to Ga-hoon, "If you have such a power, then prove it right now. Show me what I'm thinking." Ga-hoon says, "I can't tell what you're thinking or what you're going to do next." But Da-hyun says, "What's the harm in trying? I'll think of something, and you try to guess it." She's thinking about Ga-hoon. Could it be that I've fallen for him? But Ga-hoon is unable to read her thoughts. Then, after going home, Da-hyun thinks, this is why I don't get too close to anyone. What will happen to me if he goes away from me? Thinking this, she starts crying. Ga-hoon says, "You're acting like I'm seriously injured. Stop coming so close to me." Actually, the taxi driver was a good man. He didn't want to kill Ga-hoon, so he swerved the car and crashed into Da-hyun's restaurant wall instead. Seeing the damage to the restaurant, Da-hyun's mom starts fighting with the taxi driver. "We already don't get many customers, and now you've crashed your car into the restaurant." Just then, Officer Ji-won arrives to investigate. Lee arrives at Da-hyun's restaurant and places an order. Da-hyun's mom says, "We're cleaning right now." Grandma suspects that he is Lee. Da-hyun's mom thinks he's the one harassing Da-hyun by sending messages. "I won't let him go today." With this thought, she lets him in and serves him food. Da-hyun sits beside him and says, when someone makes a mistake, they have to bear the consequences. Hearing this, Lee realizes that she has recognized him. He says, "You shouldn't have locked me in the fridge." She replies, "If I had known you would blackmail and torment my daughter, I would have slit your throat that very day. If you ever follow my daughter again." And she pulls out her weapon to show him. Grandma is also holding a knife. Lee takes out his iron pipe, but before anything happens, Ga-hoon arrives and sits in front of Lee. He says, "I know you're trying to kill me. You even planned that car accident. What will happen if I file a police complaint?" Lee says, "You can't do that. If I report you all, you could go to jail for attempted murder." As he leaves, he tells Ga-hoon, "It would be best for you to stay away from Da-hyun, or I'll make you suffer in ways you can't even imagine." Da-hyun knows nothing about this. She wonders, where did I see Lee in my childhood? She doesn't remember anything and falls asleep. She has a bad dream, which wakes her up. She sees Ga-hoon awake, watching over her for safety. She says hi to him, and they start talking over messages. Da-hyun asks, "Why are you still awake?" He says, "I can't sleep." She says, "I can't sleep either, and I'm hungry too. Let's cook something to eat." Then she brings some ingredients from her kitchen to Ga-hoon. Ga-hoon says, "Why do I always have to cook? Today, I'll learn and you'll cook." He starts teaching her, but Da-hyun gets bored listening to him and falls asleep. Ga-hoon doesn't wake her up and keeps looking at her. After a while, the oven alarm goes off. Waking Da-hyun, Ga-hoon moves away from her. Then they eat together. She asks, "How did you become a chef?" He says, After my sister went missing, my mom was always sick, so I had to cook for her. Over time, I got used to it. Then I learned cooking and eventually became a chef. After finishing their meal, Da-hyun leaves. The next day, Ga-hoon's friend brings him a puppy. Ga-hoon starts feeding it. His friend asks, "Do you like Da-hyun?" He says, "No, to me, she's like this puppy. She doesn't know how to do anything, so I always have to help her." Da-hyun, who was standing outside, overhears everything and thinks, "He's comparing me to a puppy?" She makes a face and walks away. In the next scene, the taxi driver comes to Ga-hoon and says, "Lee told me to kill you in an accident, but I didn't do it. So please don't tell the police about this. If you ever need help, just let me know." Ga-hoon understands his helplessness. He asks, "How do I deal with Lee without involving the police?" In the next scene, Da-hyun tries to ignore Ga-hoon. He asks her why, and she says, "Because of me, your life is in danger. So from now on, we'll only talk about work." Ga-hoon gets angry at her words. She says, "There's nothing to be mad about. You're doing so much for my safety, but Lee is after your life. If something happens to you, I won't be able to bear it, because I love you." Ga-hoon is shocked to hear this. She says, "Don't worry, I'm not asking you to love me back. You only see me as an employee at this restaurant. Even if I stop talking to you, it won't make any difference to you." Saying this, she doesn't wait for his response and heads to the police station. On the way, she gets a call from Lee. He says, "If you report me to the police, they'll arrest you first." Da-hyun had no fear of Lee's threat. She says, "I will make sure you get punished." Lee says, "Don't go inside. We have known each other since childhood." Da-hyun replies, "Even if that's true, I don't care. If you bother me again, I'll lock you in a freezer and freeze you to death." Giving this warning, Da-hyun walks out of the police station. Just then, she receives a call from Lee's sister who says, "Meet me immediately." The police officers see Da-hyun outside and think, she keeps coming to the station and leaving without saying anything. What's going on with her? They start following her. On the other side, Lee's sister is at Ga-hoon's restaurant. Da-hyun arrives there, and Lee follows her. As soon as Lee appears, his sister picks up a knife and attacks him. Ga-hoon is confused. What is going on here? Lee grabs the knife and says, "It's been a long time since I last saw you." Then, a flashback reveals the truth. Jung, who was pretending to be Lee's sister, is not actually related to him at all. Some time ago, Jung's real sister was dating Lee. After meeting Lee, Jung felt that he wasn't a good person, so she told her sister, "Stay away from Lee." But one night, her sister didn't return home, and her phone was unreachable. So Jung reported her missing to the police. When she came out of the station, Lee approached her and said, "You should forget about your sister now." Hearing this, Jung was shocked. She knew nothing about Lee. She suspected that he had locked her sister up somewhere. She even went to Lee's office, but he had already quit his job and disappeared. She started searching for Lee everywhere, showing his photo. One day, she found Da-hyun's pictures on Lee's social media posts. She thought that Lee and Da-hyun were working together and had done something to her sister. She went to Da-hyun's house to ask about Lee. There, she found gifts from Lee that Da-hyun had thrown away. Among them was a scarf, one that Lee had sent to Da-hyun. But that scarf actually belonged to Jung's sister, which Lee had taken. So Jung started working here to find out more about Lee and her sister. In the present, Lee knocks the knife out of Jung's hand and pushes her back. Just then, Ga-hoon grabs his wrist. At that moment, Da-hyun's mom and grandma arrive and start hitting Lee. In the commotion, a window glass accidentally breaks. Ga-hoon holds Lee tightly. Just then, the police arrive and ask, "How did this glass break?" Lee immediately says, "They were attacking me." Da-hyun says, "He's lying. He has been harassing me. I've come to the police station several times to report him, but I always left without saying anything because of his threats." Now the police start questioning Lee. Before leaving, Lee warns Ga-hoon, "You are the real problem. I'll come back, and then I'll do something to you that you can't even imagine." After giving this threat, he leaves. In the next scene, Jung is at Da-hyun's house. She says, "I thought you and Lee were working together, but after staying here, I realized that Lee was tormenting you too. A few days ago, I saw the news about a human skeleton being found. When I went to the police station, they told me it was my sister's skeleton." Saying this, she starts crying, and Da-hyun comforts her. Later, Da-hyun goes to help clean Ga-hoon's restaurant, but he has already done it. Just then, Ga-hoon comes outside. Da-hyun tells him, "The way Lee was talking, it seemed like he would definitely hurt you, and I don't want anything to happen to you. So from now on, we will never talk again." As she walks away, she adds, "I'll quit this job soon, too." Ga-hoon wants to say something, but he remains silent. The next day, Da-hyun's mom is getting the restaurant window fixed. She says, "Last night, this restaurant's glass broke for the second time. Now this one won't break." Ga-hoon asks, "Last night, I get it. But when did it break before?" Just then, Da-hyun and Ji-young arrive there, and Ga-hoon's friend also comes. Seeing them, he thinks, Da-hyun's mom and grandma are very dangerous women. Ji-young is also brave. She attacked Lee with a knife, and Da-hyun also beat up Lee well. I should stay cautious of these women. After a while, Ji-young says to Ga-hoon, "I am resigning from this restaurant. Anyway, if I see Lee here, I will murder him because he killed my sister. But if I do that, you will get into trouble." Da-hyun also says, "I am resigning too." Ga-hoon says, "You both cannot suddenly resign. Ji-young, if you want, take a few days off, think calmly, and then come back." Then, looking at Da-hyun, he says, "I won't give you any leave. You have to come to work daily." Later, Ga-hoon drops Ji-young home and returns. But Da-hyun is not at the restaurant. He asks his friend about her, and he replies, "She got a call from a lady and left." Ga-hoon starts looking for her. On the other side, Da-hyun is sitting in a club with Min-jo. She tells her, "If Lee is harassing you, you should file a complaint with the police. Not complaining makes these people feel even more powerful." Then Min-jo tells her about Ji-young's sister's case. The police have not found any evidence yet. After that, they start talking about something else. When Ga-hoon does not find Da-hyun, he waits for her outside his restaurant. Meanwhile, his mom also goes out looking for Da-hyun with a baseball bat in her hand. Just after they leave, Da-hyun arrives and she is drunk. Seeing her, Ga-hoon says, "You've been drinking? If you had run into a police officer, a case would have been filed against you." She says, "When the police themselves gave me the drinks, how could there be a case?" Hearing this, Ga-hoon is shocked. He thinks, "Is she talking about Ji-won?" Da-hyun says, "Who I drink with. What does it matter to you? You don't love me, so how I live my life is none of your concern." Saying this, she goes inside. The next day, Da-hyun wakes up early and rushes to Ga-hoon's restaurant, thinking that if she gets late, Ga-hoon will scold her. So she skips breakfast and quickly crosses the road to get to the restaurant. Just then, her foot slips, and she's about to fall when Ji-won catches her, and Ga-hoon is also watching them. Then Da-hyun quickly goes inside the restaurant, and Ga-hoon asks her, "What was that?" Da-hyun says, "My foot slipped, and Ji-won saved me. Otherwise, I would have fallen." Ga-hoon says, "Whatever you do outside the restaurant is not my concern. You're late again today. Start working quickly." Seeing his anger, Da-hyun smiles happily. In the next scene, Da-hyun gets a call from Ji-young. She tells her, "Check Lee's social media page. There are many pictures of you on it." When Da-hyun looks at those photos, she realizes Lee took all these pictures here, which means he lives somewhere around here and might even be my classmate. She immediately calls Ga-hoon and tells him this. Afterward, when Ga-hoon comes to her, she says, "Lee must have studied at a school in this area. Do you remember anything?" But Ga-hoon does not remember anything. Then both of them come to Ga-hoon's house. Da-hyun enters his room and sees an old picture in which Ga-hoon's sister, Yoon, is standing with him. She thinks, "Is my childhood best friend Ga-hoon's twin sister?" Just then, Ga-hoon comes in, but Da-hyun does not ask him about it. Later, while dropping her home, Ga-hoon tells her to stay at a coffee shop and leaves. In the next scene, Ji-won meets Lee in the park and asks him, "Why did you call me here?" Lee says, "We used to be close friends in childhood. Everyone in class called you a murderer's son, but your dad is innocent and I know who framed him." Hearing this, Ji-won gets angry. Lee was talking about piano teacher Chang, who is Ji-won's dad. On the other side, sitting in the cafe, Da-hyun sees that Ga-hoon had given her an envelope containing an album. When she looks at the album, she recalls, "Once in childhood, Ga-hoon saved me. And in class, kids used to write letters to each other. When Yoon went missing, Ga-hoon received a letter from Ji-won. When my dad came home, there was blood on his hands, and I think he murdered Yoon. Because of this, Ji-won's dad was arrested. After that, Ga-hoon moved somewhere else. In childhood, Ji-won and Ga-hoon were good friends. Afterward, distance grew between them. Remembering this, Da-hyun rushes outside to find Ga-hoon. Then we see that Ga-hoon is also in the same park where Lee had called Ji-won. He asks Lee, "Why did you call me here?" Lee says, "Don't you know who I am?" Ga-hoon replies, "I know you studied at my school." Lee says, "Didn't you care about your sister? You left her there and went to play. If something happened to her, you are responsible for it." Hearing this, Ga-hoon starts hitting him. "What did you do to my sister?" Ji-won tries to stop them, but Lee punches him. Lee says, "Solve the problem by talking. If you keep fighting like this, I will have to arrest both of you." Then it is revealed that Ji-won is none other than Ga-hoon's childhood friend, and Lee tells him this. Just then, Da-hyun also arrives there. Lee says, "You came at the perfect time. This is our friend's reunion." Then he walks up to Da-hyun and says, "Do you remember your childhood? You know everything about Yoon just like I do. You are responsible for her disappearance." Ga-hoon tells him, "Don't involve Da-hyun in this." Then Lee leaves. Ga-hoon apologizes to Ji-won, saying, "I didn't recognize you." He tries to talk to him, but Ji-won refuses. Ji-won says, "I lost a lot trying to help you, so don't talk to me anymore," and leaves. While leaving, he meets Chang, his father, and feels sorrow. His father's condition was because of him. Since Ji-won had written about his father in letters to Ga-hoon, the police had arrested him. Even though his father was innocent, Ji-won could never forgive himself for this mistake. While walking with Da-hyun, Ga-hoon says, "What was Lee trying to say? He definitely knows about my sister, and he is using this as an excuse to threaten us. Don't take anything seriously." Da-hyun notices the injury on Ga-hoon's face. She says, "I won't let that Lee go. How dare he hit you?" Then she starts applying medicine to his wound. Ga-hoon says, "I didn't remember anything from my childhood, but today, because of Lee, I am recalling everything." Da-hyun asks, "Did you remember me too?" He says, "No, I only remembered Lee and Ji-won." As she applies medicine, Ga-hoon starts crying. She says, "Why are you crying like a kid? I met a girl in childhood who was very brave, and she was my crush. And now I am applying medicine to a brave boy." Then both of them start smiling. Seeing them close, Ga-hoon's friend thinks, maybe they really like relaxing together. Ga-hoon says, "I didn't come here to find my sister's murderer. I'm looking for my dad. One day, I got a call from the police station saying they found my dad's wallet. After that, I never heard anything about him, but I'm sure he is alive." Hearing this, Da-hyun becomes emotional, realizing that Ga-hoon has spent his entire life worrying about his sister and father. She tells him, "You should think about yourself too. You stay sad because of your problems, but you should try to get out of that mindset and be happy." After explaining this, she steps outside. Until now, Ga-hoon used to feel Da-hyun's emotions, but today, Da-hyun was feeling Ga-hoon's emotions. Ga-hoon looks at his dad's photo and remembers the last time he saw him. He had told his dad, "Don't waste time looking for Yoon. Even the police couldn't find her. Come home with me." But his dad didn't listen and said, "This is my last try. Until I return, take care of your mom." In the present, looking at the photo, he says, "Everyone I like ends up leaving me. I'm afraid Da-hyun might also leave me, so I don't talk to her much." Then he turns around and sees Da-hyun standing there. Ga-hoon says, "What are you doing here? Why do you keep coming back?" Da-hyun says, "I didn't believe in this emotional connection thing, but there must be some reason behind it." She's saying something when Ga-hoon interrupts and says, "No matter what happens, I won't let myself miss you. No matter what, I won't leave your side." Saying this, he walks up to Da-hyun and starts kissing her. Then his friend arrives, so Da-hyun quietly starts leaving. Then a flashback scene is shown where Lee had called her and Yoon to a place. When she went there was a red-colored gate. She thinks, "Why am I remembering this? I need to find out." While returning home, she stays on a call with Ga-hoon for safety. Even after reaching home, she keeps thinking, "If I can remember that gate, I will recall more things." The next day, Da-hyun gets fully ready and arrives at the restaurant thinking, "Today, Ga-hoon will talk to me nicely." But he talks to her as usual and gives her a lot of work. Da-hyun gets confused. "He proposed to me yesterday. Was that just a dream?" Then Ji-young arrives and says, "I've decided to continue my job. I will do my best." Everyone happily starts chatting. Da-hyun, with a sad face, goes upstairs to water the plants. Ga-hoon comes to her and asks, "What are you doing here? Are you angry about something?" Da-hyun says, "Why would I be angry? You probably didn't even add me to your phone contacts. I think you changed your decision after proposing to me. So I'm giving you 3 options. First, we forget what happened yesterday and focus on our work. Second, if you reject me, I will definitely slap you. And third, I will pour all this water on you. Choose your option." Ga-hoon says, "All 3 options are wrong. I've already told you why I came here. And after meeting you, I've found a little happiness in my life, which I don't want to lose. I'm a good chef, and I can cook delicious dishes for you all your life. Don't you want a boyfriend like that?" She smiles and says, "You found a nice way to propose. This is exactly the kind of life partner I want. But tell me, why were you avoiding me so much today?" He says, "If my friend found out, he would spread the news everywhere. For now, let's keep this just between us." Then both of them reconcile. They spend hours together. When they are apart, they talk with teary eyes. At the restaurant, they do more romance than work. Meanwhile, Da-hyun continues trying to find that gate. She sees a blue-colored gate, but the one she remembered was red, so she keeps looking. In the next scene, Da-hyun praises a dish made by Ga-hoon, and Ji-young asks, "Are you two dating?" Ga-hoon says, "No," but Da-hyun says, "Yes," which convinces Ji-young, so she keeps giving them chances to spend time alone. One day, Da-hyun tells Ga-hoon, "How long will we keep this a secret?" Even Ji-young knows now. If someone notices something, it will cause problems. Ga-hoon asks, "Do you want to tell everyone?" She says, "Let's solve our problems first. Then we will confess our love in front of everyone." Then they eat together. In the next scene, Ga-hoon is with Ji-won and another man. He says, "The piano teacher is innocent, but he has been blamed for this case for so many years." The man replies, "I already knew that. That day, he tried to give Yoon a lift, but he wasn't at fault. That night, he got into a fight with someone at the club, which is why there was blood on his hands. The DNA test clearly proved he was innocent, but our chief ordered those details to be hidden." After this, Ga-hoon tells Ji-won, "You should talk to your dad." Ji-won replies, "I feel regret whenever I see him." Ga-hoon says, "At least he is in front of you now. What if something happens to him, and you don't even get the chance to apologize?" Ji-won then walks away. A little later, Da-hyun comes to the restaurant and finds Ga-hoon sitting there alone. He rests his head on her shoulder. After that, Da-hyun goes to the library for a while. On her way home, Lee appears in front of her. He says, "When Ga-hoon finds out what you did to his sister, he will hate you." Then he leaves. Da-hyun files a police complaint against him, saying he is in this area. Later, when she is with Ga-hoon, she tells him, "I was the one who messaged Lee on Instagram to meet him so that I could remember everything." Ga-hoon says, "Meeting him like this isn't safe? Are you doing this to find my dad?" She replies, "There's something I need to tell you. I was the last person to see Yoon." Hearing this, Ga-hoon asks, "Do you remember what happened there?" In the next scene, Da-hyun says, "Lee told me that I was the last one to see Yoon that day, and only I know what happened to her. But I don't remember that day from my childhood at all. I don't trust Lee at all. But if what he says is true," she gets very confused and scared. Ga-hoon says, "Whether Lee is telling the truth or lying, why did you need to meet him alone? I don't know if Yoon is alive or not, but I don't want to lose you." Seeing the marks on Da-hyun's neck, Ga-hoon feels even worse. While walking, Da-hyun wonders, why did Lee say that if Ga-hoon finds out, he will hate me? At home, Da-hyun holds a map in her hands and thinks about the red gate. That night, she has a bad dream and suddenly wakes up. She looks out the window and sees Ga-hoon sitting alone on the terrace. She thinks, "Did he somehow realize that I had a nightmare?" Then she goes downstairs. Her mom isn't sleeping. Instead, she's sitting at the restaurant talking to Hwan. There, Hwan says, "Lee tried to strangle Da-hyun, but luckily, she survived." Ga-hoon's mom gets extremely angry after hearing this and says, "I don't want to lose my daughter again. If Lee bothers Da-hyun again, I will do exactly what I did before." Da-hyun overhears this and thinks, what did mom do before? The next day, Da-hyun ties a scarf around her neck to hide her bruise, but Hwan has already told her mom everything. Her mom asks, "Why didn't you tell us that Lee came to the library and strangled you?" Da-hyun replies, "What would you have done if I had told you? You would have grabbed your big hammer and gone after him. That's why I didn't tell you." Then Da-hyun asks, "Tell me something about my childhood." Her mom says, "You were small as a child. Now you've grown up, that's it. Nothing more." Hearing this, Da-hyun gets annoyed and walks out. Now, Da-hyun and Ga-hoon are relaxing at the restaurant. Ga-hoon asks, "How is your injury?" Da-hyun says, "It's healing because of this scarf." They both start laughing. Then they begin working. They think no one is watching them, but Ji-young and Ga-hoon's friends see everything and smile. They can clearly tell there is romance between them. Next scene, Ga-hoon gets a call from Ji-won. "I'm coming to meet you." Excited to meet his friend, Ga-hoon goes to the supermarket to buy something for him. Da-hyun goes with him. Ga-hoon says, "I don't even know what kind of food he likes. I'm thinking of making Chinese, Japanese, and all kinds of dishes for him." Hearing this, Da-hyun says, "Stop it. You never made this many dishes for me." At the supermarket, a staff member starts explaining wine products to Da-hyun. Seeing this, Ga-hoon gets annoyed and steps in to explain them to her himself. As they walk out after shopping, Da-hyun asks, "You saw me talking to that guy? Were you jealous?" Ga-hoon says, "No way. Why would I be jealous? He was sharing his knowledge and I was sharing mine." To tease him, Da-hyun says, "Whatever it is, that staff member was pretty handsome." Hearing this, Ga-hoon gets irritated but stays silent. They return to the restaurant and get back to work. Next scene, Ji-won and Min-jo arrive at the restaurant and are surprised to see so much food. Min-jo asks, "Please tell us everything you know about Lee so we can find him quickly." Da-hyun explains, "Wherever I worked part-time, Lee also worked there. He would always follow me at night and harass me. One day he strangled me, and in self-defense, I hit him. Seeing his blood, I thought he was dead, so my mom and grandma packed him up and locked him in the fridge." Min-jo asks, "Where is that fridge?" Da-hyun says, "We put the fridge outside for recycling and then it disappeared." After that, they all eat together. Da-hyun gets food on her mouth, and Ga-hoon wipes it off for her. Seeing this, Min-jo asks, "Are you two in a relationship?" Ga-hoon replies, "It's not like that. We just work together. Nothing more than that." On the way back, Ji-won thanks Ga-hoon for treating him so well. Ga-hoon asks, "Did you meet your dad?" Ji-won replies, "I didn't have the courage to." Then, in a flashback, it is shown that years ago, Ji-won's father came to meet him, but Ji-won didn't even talk to him. Ji-won says, "That day, my dad tried to explain everything to me, but I told him, 'Don't come to meet me after today. Even if I see you on the road, don't let me see you.'" As he says this, Ji-won feels deep regret, and Ga-hoon comforts him. After they leave, Da-hyun says, "You looked happy with Ji-won. Seems like you two were good friends in school?" Ga-hoon says, "Yes, we were very good friends, but we got separated. And after many years, we met again when I came to this area. Like me, he has also lost a lot in his life. I think now he will come to my restaurant, so I will change my restaurant's menu for him." The next morning, everyone gets shocked seeing a fridge outside. I wonder what's inside it. Then, as Ga-hoon starts opening the fridge, suddenly a voice comes from behind. Actually, Ji-won had ordered a new fridge for his house. Then Da-hyun comes to Ga-hoon's restaurant, but it is locked. She thinks, "Today isn't a holiday, right?" Then she checks the date and realizes that today is Ga-hoon's birthday. Da-hyun thinks, "I wanted to be the first to wish him, but how did I forget?" Ga-hoon eats with his mom and talks to her. His mom was sure that his dad was alive, but Ga-hoon thinks, if he is alive, then why has he never come to meet us? Then when he comes outside, Da-hyun arrives to surprise him, but Ga-hoon is sad. He sits on a bench talking to himself. "I miss you." From behind, Da-hyun says, "Are you missing me?" He says, "Da-hyun, when did you come here? Were you following me?" Da-hyun says, "Yes, because you were sad and the birthday boy shouldn't be sad, so I came to you." Then they start walking while holding hands. A flower falls from a tree. Da-hyun says, "If you hold this and make a wish, it comes true." Ga-hoon says, "I don't believe in these things." Hearing this, Da-hyun gets sad, so he says, "But now, I have started believing for you." Then, he kisses Da-hyun. Lee is also watching them together. He thinks, "I won't let them stay happy." In the next scene, Ga-hoon is in the restaurant. A cake is placed on the table. He thinks, "Maybe my friends kept it?" Then, Lee comes and wishes him a happy birthday. Ga-hoon says, "How dare you come into my restaurant?" But Lee is not afraid at all. Then Ga-hoon asks him, "Was what you said that day true? Is my dad with you?" He replies, "Whether it was true or not, I won't tell you." But Da-hyun knows very well what happened to Yoon. She is deceiving you. On the other side, Lee says to Ga-hoon, "Shall I tell you how this all started?" Saying this, he takes out a gaming device from his pocket. "As a child, I loved a toy, but I didn't have money. Then a man told me, 'I will get you this game, but you have to bring a girl to my house.' Actually, he was giving me the toy in exchange for bringing Yoon to him. Yoon was injured, so she was sitting outside the ground. I took her to the house with the red gate and left her inside. Then I took Da-hyun there too. That man locked both Yoon and Da-hyun inside that house. In the end, Da-hyun somehow managed to escape from there. Your sister had no chance of survival, so she died." Ga-hoon cannot bear to hear all this. On the other side, Da-hyun goes to the blue gate, but there is nothing there, so she leaves. A lady sees her there. In the next scene, it is shown that this woman is the wife of an old truck driver. This is the same old man with whom Ga-hoon found that girl who had suddenly gone missing. Now Da-hyun starts remembering that this is the same place where she and Yoon were kept. One day, both of them tried to escape, but Yoon got injured, so they couldn't run away. Out of fear, Da-hyun left her there and ran away alone. But Da-hyun doesn't remember who had locked them up. Here, Ga-hoon asks Lee, "Why did you do all this to Da-hyun? At least tell me what that man looked like. Everything I have lost in my life is because of that man." Saying this, he goes to hit Lee. Lee, scared, starts to tell the truth. But then another shocking thing happens. Suddenly, a man comes and grabs Gi-hoon's throat. His face is covered, so neither of them can recognize him. For now, we will call him Mystery Man. On the other side, Da-hyeon feels that Gi-hoon is in trouble. She immediately runs toward the restaurant and keeps calling Gi-hoon on the way, but he doesn't answer the phone. Gi-hoon loses consciousness. The mystery man leaves him there and takes Lee with him. When Gi-hoon regains consciousness, police officer Ji-won and Min-jo arrive. Gi-hoon tells them, "Lee came to my restaurant, but someone else attacked me and I passed out. So, I don't know where they both went." Then Ji-won and Min-jo start searching for the mystery man. When Gi-hoon enters the restaurant, Da-hyeon gets happy upon seeing him. She hugs Gi-hoon and says, "I was so scared for you. How did you get hurt on your neck?" Gi-hoon tells her, "Lee was here, but don't worry. The injury will heal." But he doesn't tell Da-hyeon about the mystery man because he feels that if she finds out, she will be even more stressed. Then he goes to make coffee for Da-hyeon. Da-hyeon starts wondering whether she should tell Gi-hoon everything she remembers or not. She fears that if Gi-hoon finds out that she left Yoon behind and ran away, he will start hating her. Then both of them drink coffee together. It starts raining outside. When Da-hyun tries to go home, Gi-hoon holds her hand and says, "I'll walk you home." But Da-hyeon lets go of his hand and says, "I'll go by myself." As she is about to enter her house, she starts saying something, but because of the rain, Gi-hoon can't hear her. When he runs up to her and asks, "What did you say?" Da-hyun doesn't tell him the truth and says, "At midnight, your birthday will be over, so I wanted to wish you again." The next morning, while having breakfast, Da-hyeon asks her mom and grandma, "Many years ago, Gi-hoon's sister went missing. There was another girl with her. I have found out that I am that girl. You both are hiding something from me. That day, you thought Lee was dead and put him in that fridge. And while doing so, neither of you looked nervous. You both acted as if you had experience with this. What is the secret that she wants answers from them? But they don't tell her anything." On the other side, the mystery man has kept Lee locked up. Lee says to him, "I know you will kill me, but the police are after you, so you won't be able to escape for long." The next day, Gi-hoon has to go to the market. He comes into the kitchen and tells Da-hyeon, "I'll go outside and ask who wants to come to the market with me, so you stand up quickly." Then, as Gi-hoon steps outside and asks, his friend stands up and says, "I'll go with you." But Ji-young pulls him to sit back down and says, "Let those two go together." Then Gi-hoon and Da-hyeon leave for the market. Da-han wanted to tell him the truth, but she didn't know how, so she gives him an address. There has to be some connection between Yoon's case and that house. So, Gi-hoon goes to that address. When he goes into the basement, he sees a sticker and remembers something. He had taken Yoon to the market. There, they had bought some snacks, and this sticker had come with them. Even after all these years, the sticker is still the same. Just then, the old truck driver comes and asks, "What else are you doing here?" So, Gi-hoon talks to him. The old man tells him, "I moved here in 2005. Gi-hoon then remembers that Yoon went missing in 2004. He asks the old man, "Do you know who lived here before you?" But the old man says, "I don't know." After Gi-hoon leaves, the old man throws a glass against the wall as if he is angry about something. Then it is revealed that the mystery man who took Lee is also the owner of that house. Many years ago, he was the one who tempted Lee with a toy and told him to bring Yoon. In the present, Lee tells him, "I didn't listen to you. Forgive me for that. I couldn't stand seeing Da-hyun with Gi-hoon, so I had to tell her the truth." In the next scene, a police officer tells a teammate, "There is a fridge lying outside." When they check it, all the officers are shocked because Lee's dead body is inside. On the other side, Da-hyun tells Gi-hoon everything. "I'm remembering everything now. Yoon and I were locked up in a place. We got a chance to escape, but Yoon was injured and couldn't run, so I ran away alone. If Yoon died, then I am responsible too. Will you be able to forgive me?" Gi-hoon says, "Back then, you were as young as Yoon. You must have been scared too. It wasn't your fault." Gi-hoon tries to console her a lot, but Da-hyun feels extremely guilty. Officer Hwan comes to Da-hyun's mom and says, "Someone killed Lee. Did you do it?" Da-hyun's mom denies it. Gi-hoon also finds out about this. Then, both of them go to the police station where Da-hyun sees Lee's dead body and says, "Before, I used to think that if Lee died, I would feel good, but now I feel bad for him." To change her mood, Gi-hoon takes her to the restaurant. Then Da-hyun's mom and grandma also come there. Everyone discusses who could have killed Lee, but none of them know the answer. After finishing their meal, they all leave. On the other side, Won remembers Lee's words. Da-hyun is remembering everything. If she remembers everything, you will go straight to jail. So, Won thinks, My next target is Da-hyun. At night, Da-hyun is unable to sleep. She's feeling sad thinking about everything. Just then, Ga-hoon messages her, "I know you're awake, so come to the restaurant." When she arrives, Ga-hoon tells her, "I have spent my whole life searching for Yoon and Dad, but when I'm with you, I forget everything." Da-hyun says, "But when you see me, you will remember that I didn't save your sister." Ga-hoon says, "I can't blame you for what happened in childhood, and don't ever think of staying away from me." Saying this, he hugs Da-hyun. Then, Da-hyun goes home and falls asleep, but she has a dream. In the basement, Yoon is saying something to her, but she can't hear it. In the next scene, Ga-hoon arrives at the restaurant, and Da-hyun is already waiting for him. Then, both of them take the puppy for a walk. Meanwhile, the truck driver's wife asks him, "Did something bad happen in this house before we moved in? 2 little girls went missing in this area. Do you know who kidnapped them?" But the truck driver replies, "No." Da-hyun's mom tells her, "When you were little, I had to face many difficulties. I worked very hard so that you could study in a good school and live a good life. One day, before leaving for work, I left a message for you and also kept your pocket money there. When I returned from work, the letter and money were still there. I panicked and started searching for you everywhere, but I couldn't find you. Then, I went to meet Police Officer Hwan, and he told me that Ga-hoon's sister Yoon also went missing that evening. That's when I became extremely worried about you. Then your grandma and Hwan started searching for you in different places. And finally, we found you in one place, but you were unconscious. The murderer was standing right next to you, about to kill you, but Officer Hwan arrived just in time and stopped him. That's when I got worried about Hwan, and to save him, I hit that man on the head with a heavy object, and he died on the spot. I didn't know that my blow would kill him." Now, Da-hyun remembers that she had seen not one, but 2 men in the basement. That means Hwan had a partner too. And that day, Da-hyun's mom had killed Hwan's partner, but they still don't know whether Hwan's partner is alive or not. Meanwhile, the truck driver feels extremely guilty. That day, Yoon wanted to get into my truck. If I had let her in and dropped her home, she would be alive today. Thinking about this, he has been suffering in silence for years. Da-hyun is going to buy something when suddenly Hwan appears in front of her and asks, "You're Da-hyun, right? I've known you since childhood when you were just a little girl. It's not safe to walk alone this late at night." He talks as if he's very concerned about Da-hyun, and she doesn't suspect him at all. As Da-hyun finishes shopping and starts heading home, Hwan walks with her. He asks, "Have you remembered everything from your childhood?" Hearing this sudden question, Da-hyun finds it a bit strange and says, "I don't remember your face at all. I have to go home now." Saying this, she leaves. Meanwhile, Hwan is asking Da-hyun's mom, "Are Da-hyun and Ga-hoon dating? If they plan to become live-in partners, it will be a little difficult, and you know very well why I'm saying this." Now, a flashback shows that after eliminating Hwan's partner, Police Officer Hwan and Ga-hoon's family started searching for Yoon. Hwan was also pretending to search for Yoon along with them. Da-hyun's mom and grandma had never seen Yoon. And besides these 3, no one else knew that Da-hyun had gone missing for a while. Police Officer Hwan had told them, "Never tell the police that Da-hyun was missing. Otherwise, the investigation will clearly reveal that you killed that man while saving Da-hyun." The next day, Da-hyun's mom meets Hwan and says, "I am going to the police station to confess that I accidentally killed that kidnapper." But Hwan convinces her, "You killed a murderer, so I don't think you should ruin your life over this. Not only that, but if you tell the truth, you will be sentenced to prison." Then what will happen to Da-hyun? By keeping one secret, you can save your family. And I believe that Da-hyun has nothing to do with this case, so don't drag her into it by revealing the truth. I have hidden the killer's body somewhere, so forget about him completely. But seeing the condition of Yoon's family made Da-hyun's mom feel extremely guilty. She felt that Da-hyun must have some connection to this case. If she told the truth, maybe Yoon could be found and saved. Just as she was about to enter the police station, Hwan stopped her and said, "The police have arrested Yoon's murderer, so don't ruin your own life by trying to tell the truth now. And remember one thing, Da-hyun has no connection to this case. Just take care of your daughter and forget everything else." In reality, to close the case quickly, the police framed Ji-won's father, Chang, as the murderer of Yoon. Actually, Won is a friend of Da-hyun's mom, which is why he was helping her so much. The police couldn't figure out who the real killer was, and they also never found out whether Yoon was alive or dead. So, the chief declared it an unsolved case and closed it. To this day, Da-hyun's mom regrets that if she had told the truth that day, maybe Yoon could have been found and saved. Now, in the restaurant, Ga-hoon is making coffee for Da-hyun. After giving her the coffee, he asks, "Do you want to tell me something?" Da-hyun says, "The man who killed Yoon. My mom killed him, but my mom didn't even know who that man was." After saying this, Da-hyun leaves. In the next scene, Da-hyun's mom comes to the restaurant and apologizes to Ga-hoon. He says, "You don't need to apologize. I was confused about whether Yoon was alive or not, but now I am certain that she is dead." Then, Da-hyun's mom leaves, and Da-hyun comes inside. Ga-hoon tells her, "I'm thinking about leaving this area," but he doesn't want to leave Da-hyun behind. On the other hand, thinking about Da-hyun's mom makes him extremely angry. Meanwhile, Hwan is unknowingly talking to the murderer. "Hwan, 18 years ago, to save a girl and her mother, I hid a truth. You helped me hide the murderer's body, but I suspect that man also kidnapped Yoon. Because of my hidden truth, many people's lives were nearly ruined. Thinking about it makes me furious at myself." Hwan doesn't realize that the second killer is sitting right in front of him, and he is revealing everything to him, believing him to be a friend. Hwan starts comforting him. "You did the right thing." After drinking too much, Hwan steps outside. It is raining heavily, so Hwan says, "I'll drop you home." At that moment, Hwan remembers something. When the police and Ga-hoon's family were searching for Yoon, Hwan had appeared in the area for no reason. Hwan had asked him, "What are you doing here at this time?" But Hwan had replied, "I heard that someone kidnapped a little girl, so I came to help you." Hwan was Hwan's friend, so he believed him. "All right, go check over there." Saying this, Hwan walked away in the other direction. And taking advantage of the moment, Hwan murdered Yoon. A while later, it is shown that Hwan has locked Hwan up somewhere. When Hwan regains consciousness, he shouts, "I trusted you so much, but now I realize that you're the killer. When we were all searching for Yoon, was she still alive?" Hwan replies, "Yes." Hwan says, "So that means you killed Yoon, and your partner went to kill Da-hyun, but her mom killed that man instead. This is the truth, Hwan. But now, what's the point of knowing all this?" And now, friends, we are shown a proper flashback. In the basement, Yoon had managed to escape, but before she could cross the shed, she started feeling extreme pain and sat down, exhausted. The two killers then split up to search for the two girls. Hwan's partner went to kill Da-hyun, but Da-hyun's mom killed him instead. Meanwhile, Yoon was hiding in a safe place and was asking passers-by for help. Just then, a truck driver was passing by, and Yoon pleaded with him, "Uncle, please take me home in your truck. A man had locked me up somewhere, and I'm really scared." But the truck driver didn't believe Yoon's words and said, "You're just making an excuse to get into the truck. Go away, I have important work. I'm leaving. Go play with your friends." Saying this, the truck driver drove away. But this was his biggest mistake. Hwan was hiding nearby, and as soon as the truck driver left, he took Yoon away. Now the truck driver kneels before Ga-hoon, begging for forgiveness. "I had a chance to save Yoon, but I didn't take her seriously and left her alone on that road." Ga-hoon starts yelling, "My sister must have asked so many people in this area for help that day, but none of you helped her." Da-hyun starts feeling Ga-hoon's emotions, and she runs up to him and hugs him. Much later, Da-hyun and Ga-hoon sit in the restaurant. Ga-hoon says, "In Yoon's case, we are all involved in some way. It wouldn't be right to blame just one person. The truck driver could have saved her, but he didn't. I also made a mistake. That day she was crying, 'Don't leave me and go play.' If I hadn't left her alone to play with my friends, maybe Lee wouldn't have taken her, and my sister wouldn't have fallen into the hands of the murderer. And you always feel guilty for running away and saving yourself. Because of this, I can't even talk to you properly. I think if you stay away from me, you will be able to live in peace." Saying this, he painfully suggests breaking up, but Da-hyun kisses him and then leaves. She goes home and cries a lot, but after a long time, she realizes that if she keeps crying, Ga-hoon will feel her emotions. So she stops crying. At the restaurant, Ji-young finds out that Ga-hoon broke up with Da-hyun. Ji-young goes to comfort Da-hyun, but she sees Da-hyun happily having breakfast with her family. Ji-young is surprised. Does Da-hyun not feel sad about the breakup at all? Actually, Da-hyun is doing all this for Ga-hoon because if she looks sad, Ga-hoon will also feel sad. The next day, Da-hyun, her mom, and her grandma go to the police station. They tell the police everything they know about Lee's case so that the murderer can be caught as soon as possible. While leaving, Da-hyun keeps thinking about Ga-hoon. She goes to the restaurant, the gaming center, and many other places, but everywhere, she is reminded of Ga-hoon. Meanwhile, at the police station, they check CCTV footage, and they find that one day, Lee was standing with a man and talking on the phone. That was the day he had called Ga-hoon and said, "Your father is with me." The image of the man in the footage isn't clear. But the chief was patrolling that area that day, and he guesses who was with Lee. That man was Juan. Da-hyun is sitting somewhere, eating, when Juan approaches and says, "I came here to supply items for this place. If you're going home, I can drop you off." Saying this, he opens the car door. At that moment, Da-hyun remembers something. Before locking her in the basement, a man had given her a toy, and now she recalls. That man was Juan. Realizing this, Da-hyun becomes alert and quickly makes an excuse to leave, but Juan starts following her. As soon as Da-hyun starts running, Gi-hoon senses that Da-hyun is scared of something. At the start of this episode, Gi-hoon goes to the library looking for Da-hyun because she often used to go there. He doesn't find her there, so he calls her. Da-hyun answers the call while running, but her phone slips and falls. At the police station, Ji-won says to Min-jo, "Lee met Won before he died, so is Won the killer?" Then, Gi-hoon calls Ji-won and tells him that Da-hyun is in serious danger, but he doesn't know where she is. Now the police start searching for Da-hyun. Gi-hoon shows Da-hyun's photo to people in the area, asking if they have seen her. Then he spots Da-hyun's phone and guesses that she must be nearby. Meanwhile, Da-hyun runs into a shop and tries to hide. The shop owner realizes that she is in trouble, so he immediately starts calling the police. Just then, Won arrives and starts attacking the shop owner. He then finds Da-hyun and says, "So you finally remembered that I'm the murderer. Now I can't let you live." At that moment, Gi-hoon feels a sharp pain in his chest. The last time he felt this way was when his sister was about to die. Tears fill his eyes as he fears that the same thing might happen to Da-hyun. He desperately searches for her and finally spots Won strangling Da-hyun inside the shop. A brutal fight breaks out between Gi-hoon and Won. Gi-hoon shouts, "I know you killed my sister, but tell me the truth. Did you kill my father too?" Won, enraged, yells, "Yes, I killed your father too. A year after I murdered your sister, he figured out that I was the killer, so I killed him before he could tell anyone." Hearing this, Gi-hoon attacks Won furiously. Da-hyun grabs a knife and goes to stab Won, but Won snatches the knife from her and injures her. Gi-hoon, exhausted, is unable to fight anymore. Holding Da-hyun's hand, Gi-hoon says, "Stay with me always. I can't live without you. Please don't leave me." Just as Won is about to attack them again, the police arrive with Ji-won at the right moment and arrest Won. Da-hyun loses consciousness, and Gi-hoon anxiously waits for the ambulance. Seeing her condition, he starts crying. Even in her unconscious state, tears roll down Da-hyun's eyes. When she regains consciousness, she tells Gi-hoon, "When we were kids, Yoon told me that you were emotionally connected to her. Now, after all these years, I finally understand why you feel emotionally connected to me too." She recalls, "Before Yoon died, I made her a promise, but I forgot about it. When we were locked in that place, we stuck a sticker on the wall. We were scared, but we were happy because we were together. But suddenly I started crying, so I asked her, 'Why are you crying all of a sudden? Are you scared of this place?' Yoon replied, 'I'm not crying. My brother is thinking about me and crying. That's why tears are coming out of my eyes too. We are twins. If he's happy, I feel happy too, and if I'm in pain, he feels it as well." She continued, "Right now, he must be looking for me and crying in fear. That's why I can feel his sadness too." Then she said, "We are trying to escape from here, but if I don't make it, you must tell my brother something for me. Tell him not to worry about me. He is not responsible for what happened to me. Even if he hadn't left me to play that day, this still could have happened. So he should never cry thinking about me." Da-hyun says, "I promised her that I would pass on her message to her brother, but somehow I forgot about this childhood promise. Besides, after that incident, I moved to another city where I was studying and working a part-time job. And this is why, 18 years later, when Gi-hoon returned to this area for the first time, he felt an emotional connection with Da-hyun. In the present, Da-hyun's mom and grandma take her to the hospital in an ambulance, while Gi-hoon walks there on foot. On the way, he has a vision of his sister Yoon standing in front of him. She says, "My death was not your fault, brother. So stop crying over me and try to be happy in your present life. Promise me that from today you will find happiness in your life and move forward, leaving the past behind." Gi-hoon promises her and feels as if he is hugging his sister. Then he reaches the hospital. Da-hyun's mom assures her that she will be fine, but the doctors say that she will need surgery and after that, she will recover completely. Gi-hoon says, "Please forgive me. I couldn't reach Da-hyun in time to help her." But her mom replies, "No, son. Why are you apologizing? You risked your own life to save my daughter. I should be thanking you." In a way, I am also responsible for what happened in your life. So I should be the one asking for forgiveness. Meanwhile, after getting beaten by the police, Juan reveals where he has kept Juan locked up. The police immediately go and rescue him. After the surgery, Da-hyun has to stay in the hospital for several days. At the beginning of the series, Lee and Da-hyun had a physical fight. During that fight, Lee had pushed Da-hyun, and then Juan had arrived and hit Lee. Juan did not want Lee to accidentally reveal anything about Da-hyun's past. Now, at the police station, Juan confesses to all his crimes. Ga-hoon had been lying to his mother all this time, telling her that his father was still alive. But now, he finally tells the truth. Dad passed away a long time ago, but looking at your condition, I never had the courage to tell you the truth. Then Ga-hoon gives his mother their father's wallet. Seeing her husband's photo inside, his mother starts crying uncontrollably. A few days later, Da-hyun is discharged from the hospital. Her life has undergone another major change. Now Ga-hoon and Da-hyun no longer feel an emotional connection because Ga-hoon's sister has already conveyed everything she wanted to say. So, they can no longer sense each other's emotions. One day, Da-hyun is heading somewhere, when suddenly, it starts raining. To avoid getting drenched, she sits under a shelter. Just then, Ga-hoon arrives with an umbrella and says, "It's been a while since I've seen you. How are you feeling now?" After being discharged from the hospital, Ga-hoon had not visited Da-hyun even once, so she gets upset and walks away. Ga-hoon runs after her and pulls her under the umbrella. He says, "If you get wet in the rain, you might fall sick again. I didn't come to see you for so many days, and I'm really sorry for that. But now I will never leave you." Saying this, he kisses Da-hyun. Both decide to leave the past behind and live their future happily. Then it is shown that Da-hyun's grandma meets a man. That man is none other than Da-hyun's father. 20 years ago, Da-hyun's parents got divorced. In reality, the woman Da-hyun always thought was her maternal grandmother was actually her paternal grandmother. A flashback shows the time when Da-hyun's parents got divorced, and her mom struggled to raise her alone. When Da-hyun went missing, her mom panicked and called her mother-in-law for help. Da-hyun's grandmother understood her daughter-in-law's distress and immediately rushed to help. When they found Da-hyun, she was unconscious and had no memory of what had happened. After this incident, the grandmother started treating Da-hyun's mom not just as a daughter-in-law, but as her own daughter. From then on, she started living with Da-hyun and her mom. Meanwhile, Ga-hoon had already packed up his restaurant supplies and had decided to leave the area. But after meeting Da-hyun again, his entire plan changes. He unpacks everything and puts it all back into the restaurant. When Da-hyun looks at him happily, Ga-hoon thinks, "She's coming to kiss me." But instead, Da-hyun ignores him and starts playing with the puppy. Everyone is happy. Now Ga-hoon and Da-hyun often go out together and take selfies. Ga-hoon by nature is a serious person who rarely laughs. This time, Da-hyun playfully scolds him for it. One day, they go to a fancy restaurant for dinner. There, they see a couple feeding each other. Ga-hoon doesn't like it and says, "Behaving like this in public doesn't seem appropriate at all." But when Da-hyun tries to feed him, she gets disappointed by his comment. Ga-hoon can't bear to see her upset, so he quickly lies, "Hey, I was just joking. Food tastes different when it's fed by you." Meanwhile, Juan is serving his sentence in prison, comes to visit him and asks, "If you killed that man, where did you hide his body?" At first, Juan refuses to say anything, but after a long time, he finally confesses that he buried the body in a village. Actually, when Da-hyun's mom killed Juan's partner, Juan had told Grandma, "This is how you clean the blood and pack the body properly so that no one suspects anything." That's why both of them carefully packed the body and said, "Let's leave this to God." Then, they instructed Juan to take it far away and bury it. But Juan tricked them. He buried the body in the same place instead. Now it all makes sense why Mom and Grandma were so skilled at packing up Lee's body earlier. They had been trained by Juan. At that location, the police find two bodies, one of Yoon and the other of Juan's partner, whom Da-hyun's mom had killed. Juan calls Ga-hoon to the crime scene. Ga-hoon breaks down in tears, remembering the happy moments he spent with his sister and father. Finally, the grand opening of Ga-hoon's restaurant arrives. Since Ga-hoon is a famous chef, many people come to his restaurant after seeing his social media posts. Slowly, his restaurant becomes very popular. Ga-hoon finally expresses his love, kisses Da-hyun, and proposes to her. Then, a young boy resembling Gi-hoon is shown playing and laughing, making them both reminisce about their childhood. Suddenly, Da-han tries to climb onto a ledge, but she slips. Gi-hoon catches her and says, "I will support you like this for the rest of our lives." With this happy ending, the series concludes.